Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, FM18. Today it's time for us to take a look at Club DNA. I introduced that in FM16. Now we want to take a look at how we can use that a bit more effectively in FM18. Club DNA is a way for you to use certain attributes to create a kind of a personality for your team. That's the first thing. The second thing is allows you to come up with a system where you can choose players very quickly and effectively for your side based on the duties that they perform. Now, the game in FM18 has changed, and they've included concepts that I talk about in FM16, and I started using them effectively and even wrote about them in my book. Today you will find that within the game itself you can actually compare attributes of players in certain key roles. If you're looking at a certain position like this winger's position and you have two players to pick from, now the game has included a way for us to compare the key attributes for a specific role between two players. So we have here two players and there's a comparison, and they show you what the important attributes are. It's an extension of what I covered in core role attributes in my book, and it's now in the game, and I'm actually kind of excited about this addition in the game. So how do you use Club DNA effectively? First, you need the big picture view. How do you want your club to play? The second thing you'll have to do is how do you split this up between the three duties? If I'm a club that's struggling to survive, then maybe what you want to do is you want to focus on physical attributes above all else, because then you want to make sure that your boys are fitter, faster, and stronger and great in the air, so that you can deal with crosses and hit teams on the counter with your pace and acceleration. The next step is actually thinking about your three duties. You've got attack, defend, and support. Whenever you create any kind of a tactic, the first thing you need to do is identify from your squad of players, from the tactic that you've created, which players are coming back to defend. Now, this is very important. A lot of managers get this part wrong. Why? They will put a fullback on attack and expect him to come back and defend. And then when he doesn't defend or he doesn't do the job effectively, they complain. The real reason behind this is because of the duty you've selected. If you want him to spend as much time defending as he is attacking, then choose a support duty. If you're going to choose an attack duty, you always have to expect that he may not get back in time, because his first priority, of course, is to take part in attack movements. So let's take this tactic, for example. It's a very simple 4-3-3, and I have several support duties I'm looking at very carefully for them to come back during defensive transitions. Three of them are here: the ball-winning midfielder, the Mazzala, and the fullback on support. I'm expecting to see all three of them come back to support. Then I'm also looking to see if this inside forward drops back into midfield. I do expect him to come back and put in a shift. However, I can't really expect him to be that effective during support phases in a tackling capacity, because after all, he is an AM and he's going to be high up the pitch during most of the transitions. The next step is probably the most important step, and this is the part where most people get it wrong. Now, when I look at my attributes, I sort them out, and this allows me to go through my team. And I also have a system where I prioritize certain attributes first. These are the attributes I always look at first, and then after that I start looking at the other attributes. I normally have like 4 or 5 which are very important, and these are like equally important for me for all the duties. And then once I've gotten these 4 done, then I'll start looking at the rest. So when I'm looking at the defend duties, the first attribute is always going to be positioning. Why? Because we want them mentally smart enough to know where to position themselves. Then we got concentration, determination, bravery, and anticipation. These are like the 5 that I look at for defend duties. So these are the 5 most important attributes first up. Once I've sorted those attributes out, then I look at things like strength, jumping reach, aggression, work rate, heading, marking, tackling, and passing. So this is the order that I look at. So when it comes to the attributes themselves, this gives me a very good idea how good my players are at dealing with dangers, because I want to know whether they are a reactive kind of a player or a proactive kind of a player. This gives me a very, very good idea of how my team is going to defend. So in terms of positioning, if I see something like this where I got lots of 12s and 13s, then I get very concerned. Then the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the central defender, at least one of my central defenders, is top. So his 16 is very important. So this gives me a very good idea about my defenders. This also applies to defense duties for defensive midfielders as well. Support duties are the heartbeat of a team. So if you get these wrong, I won't be surprised if your tactic falls apart. two most important attributes of support duties is always going to be positioning and off the ball. Why positioning? Because you need them to know when, it affects the defensive phases. Off the ball, offensive phases. That's it. End of discussion. You want somebody to be involved in both phases, then get both the attributes correct. Then we've got concentration and anticipation. Now this affects more the intelligence on the pitch as to whether or not they know they're paying attention or they know what to do at the right time. Then we've got, of course, composure, first touch, determination. Now these are all very important attributes, but they affect different things in the game. So when it comes to deciding between your support players, you want to be looking at positioning, off the ball, concentration first, because these are the attributes that involve whether they are going to be good mentally for you in that support duty. The rest of the attributes will define how good they are in other aspects. Now, determination, work rate, and bravery are still very important for me, but the first thing I look at whenever I want to pick a player in a support duty is positioning and off the ball. I need to know what kind of a player he is, and this will give me a very, very good idea of whether or not he is going to be a player that I can rely on during the defensive phase or a player that I can rely on the offensive phase. Because when you go into the offensive phase, you need your support duties to be moving, off the ball and being able to support the attack. If you focus in on all the defensive aspects like positioning, determination, work rate, bravery, anticipation, then you might get the offensive side wrong. So you need to get the right balance. So when it comes to support duties, the two most important attributes that you want to zoom in on, understand very, very quickly is positioning and off the ball. Then I look at the rest after that. When it comes to my attack duties, it's very clear. Off the ball by a country mile. If I want a player involved in my attack phase and I need him to create chances or be a receiver of great passes, his off the ball has to be there and it's got to be good. Then I look at all the other attributes. That's how I start with my attack duties. My attack duties is always going to be off the ball. Then the rest of the attributes will explain to me how well they play. Then I look at things like decisions, determination, work rate, passing, vision, balance, acceleration, first touch, composure, finishing, anticipation, dribbling, crossing, teamwork, and bravery. But why do I look at the other attributes later? Because the other attributes kind of tell me what kind of a player he is. But I just want to make sure that these guys are always going to be around, making themselves available for the pass. So whenever you go through your attributes and you want to create a club DNA, the first thing you want to do is you want to understand your team, set a macro picture for your whole side and come up with a set of attributes that define the kind of team that you are. Then what you need to do is go into your tactic and isolate those players who you want to see coming back to defend. Every one of those is either a defend or a support duty. Once you've done that, then go into your attributes. Now, from these attributes, what you're going to do is you're going to isolate the key attributes that you need for the defend duty, for the support duty, and for the attack duty. Once again, for the defend duty, you want to look immediately at positioning. If you're their support duty, positioning and off the ball. And if they're attack duty, off the ball decisions. So this is how I approach the game. And then I will start putting in the rest of the attributes. I want to thank you for taking the time out to watch the show. I hope that you found I want to thank you for taking the time out to watch the show. I hope you found the information here useful. If you have any questions, you know to find me. You can always look me up on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for their continued support of this channel. You make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care, have a good one, and I'll catch up again with you soon. Bye-bye.